So I'm with Caleb Shomo from Beartooth. I have been looking to get you on the WDHA Reconnect with Rockers feature for such a long time. So I'm so happy to see your awesome face, your great smile. Thanks so much for hanging.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it greatly. Yeah, I'm honored to be here. Very, very stoked.
Last I saw you was WDHA's Rock the Rock Fest,
Yeah,
where
that
you
was
blew everybody away. It was crazy. I watched the whole set side stage, not realizing that the pit would start to generate. It was a great pit, though. Everybody
yeah.
was so cool to each other, helping each other, but it was a sight to see. And this is when I said, you know what? Definitely one of the most compelling bands in rock music today. And as a program director, I love saying that. I want to say it every day. So you, my friend, are just bringing it times 50. Sold out show. I would tell everybody to come to the New York City show. Sorry, if you didn't get
Yeah,
your tickets for January 26th, you're shut out.
yeah,
Sold out
fortunately.
show at Palladium Times Square Theater, which is a great, great venue. So congratulations, man, on carrying the torch.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, that show at that arena was absolutely nuts. That was such a blast. And I mean, yeah, since then, like you've been saying, it's been going pretty well. Records out, it's been pretty well received. The tour is selling out, which is also really, really cool. I just feel honored to be a part of it at all. I'm just trying to enjoy it as it comes.
Yeah, which you have to do. You have to take that breath and be able to enjoy it. Well, what I love about your records, I think Beartooth Records and you, every record seems to be kind of a little bit of a timestamp. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's what is happening with you, what you're going through. This record, obviously, the surf is completely different.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's exactly it. When the thing started, a little bit over a decade ago now, which is absolutely nuts to say. I mean, it really was just kind of like therapy sessions in my basement. And to be honest, that thankfully, still a decade later, that's what it is. I go into my studio or wherever I'm at and just kind of write songs about what I am exactly going through at that moment. And it's been interesting. It's really cool to have this, like, every 2 years I can look back on this record or whatever one I'm listening to, and I just remember exactly what I felt like when I was writing whatever that song is, or tracking it or mixing it or whatever it may be. It's a really good way for me to kind of keep the present in perspective. Just being able to kind of go back through and like see my growth over the years, or see the ups and downs and kind of the whole journey. I feel very blessed that this kind of passion project became my job and my career. I'm incredibly blessed.
you're an awesome songwriter, though.
Well, thank you. I
You're a great
appreciate that.
storyteller. I mean, and so when did you know that you could write songs? I mean, that's something that, when did you sort of know? Were you a kid? Were you a teenager? Were you headed for adulthood? Was it something born out of, a crazy period of in life? But you
Yeah,
are really an out of the park songwriter.
thank you. It's been something that's kind of taken time. I mean, with music, just in general, I've been playing music or involved in music or obsessed with it of some sort since literally before I can remember. I come from a pretty musical family on both sides. My mom and dad were both. My mom's an amazing musician, piano player, singer. Um, my, dad, his parents were amazing musicians. His sister was an amazing singer. My father was a preacher, so in a way, he was kind of like a, entertainer, like I am on stage, riling
I
people up.
love that.
And so, it's always kind of been in my blood. And piano was the first thing I got on, before I even really knew what I was doing. My mom would put me up there with her, and I'd be kind of pounding stuff out, making little ditties and songs and figuring it out. But years progress. I fell in love with all the rock instruments as I fell in love with rock and roll. So, you know, like I learned guitar, drums, and bass kind of all at the same time around 10 or 11 years old. But honestly, when it comes to songwriting from a perspective of like lyrics and melody and composition and stuff, I didn't really get into that until I was about 15.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't even really sing until I was 16 at all. That's when I kind of like figured it out. But yeah, it was just this slow progression of just being in love with music, and then eventually it was my career. And you know, now I've been writing songs and on the road full time since I was 15 years old, and I just turned 31. So now it's officially over half of my life has been music, and I'm pretty proud of that. I definitely enjoy it.
Well, I want to talk about the fearless nature too, because you never really seem afraid to take a chance and make a different record. So
Oh,
this record,
yeah.
definitely different. For the fifth record, completely different than anything that we've ever heard.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
have
is
to
it
like
hard to be fearless?
manifest
Is it
that, I
hard to
feel like a little bit.
to say, you know what, we're going to do something completely different now, and not worry about what the fan base might say, because everybody's got an opinion on social media. Everybody's so brave behind their keyboards and everything. And it's tough to kind of be a fearless warrior in that sense, but I think it's so imperative to do it when you're an artist.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I think for me, you know, I've kind of had to manufacture it in at certain times. Like with the first record was way different. You know, honestly, when Beartooth started, I did not expect it to become what it has become. That was not the plan. You know, I was actually kind of going to be like a side project and just a passion project. And, you know, like I would just wrote songs completely for myself. They were not meant for anybody else except me and my emotional state and maybe some close friends. But yeah, then like it becomes so much of a bigger thing. And that's when it became tough to kind of like keep that fearless nature, because I knew that I was giving everybody this straight up just like magnifying glass into my personal life and into my emotional state and into all of these things that I go through. Um, but what I realized for me is like, and I kind of made it a point to say to myself, no, when I got signed and when Beartooth started taking off, I was like, I don't care how big this gets, I will never stop making songs that same way. Like this has to be my passion project always. This has to be about what I'm going through, me talking to this microphone like no one else will ever hear this song. Never backing down from anything that I'm feeling. And it does get tough, you know, it honestly kind of gets tougher each record. And especially for this album, The Surface, just because, you know, I did 4 records talking about all of the darkness, all of the like pain and the depression and anxiety and all the tough parts of life. Because, you know, for those 4 records, that was like the most prevalent thing in my life, and the thing that I kind of felt was the most emotionally upfront. But as times change and, you know, I change and put in a lot of work to kind of get to where I am now, putting out a record that's talking about positivity and hope and becoming a better version of myself was honestly really scary, especially with like the musical style following that. You know, I always have loved writing pop songs. I've always loved it. You know, from a lyric and melody standpoint, I think it's some of the best stuff. And I was raised on a lot of pop, and I've just always loved it. So to like go out of a super heavy metal record that was influenced by like doom metal and death metal and all this stuff with Below, the record previous
Yep.
to this, then going into something like The Surface, which is a bit more pop driven, it was terrifying. But that, you know, I literally, my motto for this record from the beginning was no fear, none whatsoever. No matter what, you just do it. Don't think, just do. Just feel it in the moment. If it feels right, trust your gut and do not back off. Because if you do, you're going to be selling this record short. And yeah, I'm very glad that I did that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, and hopefully, you know, I think our fan bases as well. I heard, was it Rick Rubin say once, you know, you have to make the art for yourself And if you're not, then you're honestly doing your fan base a disservice. Like if you're trying to just please the masses, like you were saying, you get so much influence from social media and everybody has an opinion, and but that's part of art, and that's okay. If you let that drive your creativity, then you're kind of gonna just get stuck making something that isn't genuine. So yeah, it is not easy, but I'm very glad that I tried to take that approach.
Yeah. And that's what jerked my head around from below to the surface. I thought to myself, this band is now, this band is now a rock band, not a band that can be boxed into a metal band or a metal core band or a new metal band or the new breed of metal. Like when I heard the surface and started to get some tracks from it, I thought they're a rock band now. This is a rock band, well versed, a lot of different flavors and textures. So congratulations on that, because that evolution doesn't always happen for people, and it's so nice that you've never ever made the same record twice.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I think it's definitely a good sign when on the, 5 records in, I look at like Spotify or look at our statistics of what people are listening to, and over half of our streams every week since the record has come out has been from the new record
It's
versus
the
our
best. You've
entire
hit your
catalog.
stride, 5 records in. That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's what you want as an artist.
yeah,
That's what you want as an artist. You
that
don't
is
want to,
the
blow
actual
that,
dream.
blow the load right out of the first 2 records. And then you're like, womp, 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 womp. I mean, I think that's what makes great art. That's what makes musicians, and that's what gives us rock stars. And we need that. We need everything. Speaking of the rock star thing, that charisma on stage in those live shows, is it your vision to be like one of the best live bands in rock? Because look, I've been doing this a long time. I've been a program director a long time. We've been doing shows a long time. I literally was like this watching you guys on stage. This was me. And I'm a big mouth from Jersey. Everyone knows. I literally was like this, just
I'll
watching you
take it.
in the arena. Now, I've seen
Yeah.
you on tours before. An arena that size, 21,000 seats or whatever, that
Mhm.
is very easy for a band and an artist to get swallowed up. Not
Oh,
everybody is an arena band.
yeah.
It's even different than festivals, because festivals is like kind of open air and you're outside and everything.
Mhm.
Arena shows are not that easy. And man, you had everybody in the palm of both hands. So talk to me about this world domination as a live band.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
No
it's been
pressure,
an
no
evolution
pressure.
for sure. It's been an evolution for sure. Like I totally agree with you what you're saying about arena shows, especially a show like that one specifically. Because that's not just like some, smaller arena. That's like that was the arena, 20 plus thousand, like the New Jersey arena. It was honestly pretty intimidating. But the thing about those shows, like you were saying, that's different than festivals or clubs or whatever, is like you have that massive amount of people, but they are there to do one thing, just watch you play. They get their drinks, their merch, their food, whatever, and then they just sit in a seat and watch you. And there's no hiding. There is no like, it is just purely you, just right in front of everybody. And you either win or you lose. There's rarely any in between. So like to kind of get to a point where we can handle arena shows like that, and I feel very confident in that setting, has taken time. And it's taken a lot of work and a lot of studying and a lot of just trial and error. But I really think the biggest thing that's happened to me since the pandemic is like, most of these changes that if anybody who really follows me knows that I've been going through have all been to better myself really as a performer and as a musician and whatever. Yeah, I had to kind of sit and take a look at my life and say, what are the things that really make me happy? Like, what do I love doing? If I had nothing else, there's no money involved, there's no relationships involved. It is just me and my brain and my happiness. I love being an entertainer and I love making music. So everything that I've been doing has been to help that. I cleaned up my act with the booze. I cleaned up my act with my health. I've been trying to get into the best shape I can physically get in. I've been practicing harder than I've ever been practicing. And really at the end of the day, it's just like, have you put in the work? You know, I look at all of like the greatest athletes in the world, and there is one thing in common, is that they worked harder than anybody else on the court or on the field or on the golf course or wherever. Like, they just outworked them. That's it. How many people have talent? There's so many that have talent and that can do amazing things, but can you do it night after night? And can you bring the same energy? Like, have you put in the effort? So that, I think, is what I've been really, really focusing on, and specifically going into this next tour that we're about to do. I mean, I'm literally like, I'm in the middle of editing our live show right now, that like everybody can rehearse to and practice to, and our lighting team and the video team and the pyro team and the whatever. And you know, we're doing something that we've never done as a band for this tour, and we're really pushing it. And it was very much inspired by, a lot of the shows that we were playing around the Jersey Arena show. Like, we want to show the entire world with this record and with this touring cycle that we are ready to go to that level. And so we're going to be putting on an arena show in clubs. That's basically what we're doing. It's going to be something nobody has ever seen from us before. The amount of preparation, the amount of time, the amount of effort is beyond anything we've ever done. So, I used to be afraid of it. I used to always kind of just be like, whatever happens, happens. Who cares? But honestly, now I'm at least going to give it a shot. I have no idea if we're going to, become one of those legendary bands, but I'm sure as hell going to try for our live show specifically. And all we can do is work, and we've been working, and we are continuing to work, and we'll see what happens. But I would highly recommend, I know obviously New York is sold out and most of this tour is sold out now, but if you have a way to get to that show, it's going to absolutely be worth every penny.
I can't wait, because it's inspiring. I mean, the Newark show was inspiring, and people left inspired, and we need that in rock and roll. We need these bands that are going to inspire, and then you inspire other people to just be an incredible live band. And I think the evolution of the band too, and your evolution has been key. You've been a very honest, it's tough to always be an really honest artist too. You've never been afraid to talk about things that were difficult to talk about. You never minded. I remember back in the day, these were not things that people were writing about, and now it's just so much more prevalent. And you realize what a connection you can make with the fans and with the audience. Everybody sort of gravitates to that, especially post-COVID, because everybody felt that they were in some kind of something. Everybody had their shit going on at that time. It was impossible not to. And I think that that has really been an amazing connection, certainly for you as an artist. And you know what is cool about you too? You seem like such a very approachable person for fans too. And I think that's important. And the year before, this is the weirdest thing. The year before the first Rock the Rock Fest, you were on stage with Wage War, because you came out to the show.
Yeah.
Never did I think that within a year you would be like, third band in, and to a packed arena, and having everybody in the palm of your hand, in a year's period of time, when you just happen to be in town and Wage War said, yeah, we're opening this show. Come on up and jump on stage with us. So that's a big feat, dude. That's a pretty big feat.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, I remember going to that show. We just had a day off in town.
Yep.
And, they're like really good friends of ours. We had just done a tour with them. And so I was like, of course, I have to go see them. And I remember, when we got the offer for that show and it all ended up lining up, I was like, oh, this is the one with that Wage War played. We got to be sharp, guys. Like, we got to be on. This is a big deal. And it really is just like, you know, like you were saying about, I guess, being approachable and things like that. I don't know if I will ever be able to be that kind of like cocky rock star or whatever you want to call it.
The douchey guy.
I
No, that's not you.
sure that
That's totally
I
not you
sure
at
hope
all.
not.
No.
You know,
Nope.
I'm gonna thank my mama for that one. She raised me well. But yeah, like I and honestly, a lot of it has been confidence over the years. I think there's a big difference in my life and in the world in general between like confidence and cockiness. So I really feel like I've been trying to gain confidence. To me, confidence is knowing that you've put in the work to do something. And I know I've put in the work. So I'm confident, you know, when we go up on stage for our first show of this tour in Cincinnati, or if we go up in New York to that massive, you know, crucial sold out show with a bunch of really important people there, I'm confident that I'm going to do my job well and that we're all going to do our job well. Where I think cockiness is like, cockiness sometimes to me is when you kind of are like faking it until you make it. You just like have this attitude and act like
It is what it
you're
is.
yeah, or like you're above people
Yep.
or you're, you know, they're beneath you or you're that I will never ever be able to understand. Like we cannot put on a show without the people in the room. You know, our live show as a band is only as good as our crew. You know, the whole thing is because of everybody. It none of this exists without all of us. So I think that whole kind of like above and below mentality is just a waste of time, and it's honestly a sad way to live. Yeah, I think, you know, I was raised very much to like respect and appreciate every single person on this planet and for whatever they are doing. And I think in the music scene, that's something that I will always make sure is a priority to me, is that, you know, I remember that every single person is why we get to do this. It's not like, you know, you're all here because of me. It's like I'm literally here because of all of you. So thank you. And that is super, super important. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that is never lost on me.
I think this is going to be the year of Beartooth. And look, The Surface on my list of best records of the year. And this has been a big year for some really great releases. Definitely made my list. Just a tremendous, tremendous record. And so excited to see you guys sell out in advance. I love that. I love seeing the passion for music fans, and sold out quite a bit far in advance for the show.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that, you know,
Thank
especially,
you.
you know, heading into fourth quarter and people are busy and people are buying holiday gifts and you got a January, you know, it's tough to tour. Those months are tough to
Yes.
tour in the
Oh
Northeast
yeah.
too. It's not easy, you know, to be touring around in January. And you guys just nailed it, man. And it couldn't happen to a nicer band and a more deserving band. So I'm really excited and happy for you.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm very grateful. You know, we've never had a tour sell out this far in advance, and these shows are, you know, we've never had this happen. But I'll take it as a sign that, you know, people are really into the new record. They like the direction, they understand what I'm trying to say, and you know, let's all just do it together and have a good ride.
It's the dawn of a new day, my friend. Caleb, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was such a pleasure.
Well, thank you. It is always an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate any opportunity to have a chat. So thank you.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.